Should you take this boat offshore? Well, it depends. This boat, she's an all-rounder. She's not an ocean beast, but she's not trying to be. So whether you should take her out in the ocean or not depends on your goals. So keep watching this video, I'll explain what I mean. Is this your first proper big boat? You know, with a toilet, with a cabin, wind protection, etc. Do you dream of doing some offshore adventures? Is your partner in on that dream with you? And the point I want to cover is make sure you approach that very carefully, because whilst you might have big, lofty, awesome dreams, if you don't bring your partner along the journey with you, and if all your previous boating has been done inshore, in the lake, on the broadwater, in the harbour, if you just come out here on your first day of your new boat adventures, that dream you had of upgrading boats into the future, getting bigger and bigger with something right there at the end, it's probably going to turn into an upgraded kitchen instead of an upgraded boat. So the point I want to make is this boat capable of going offshore? Absolutely. Are you and your guests capable of going offshore? That's the question you need to ask. And you need to approach that quite carefully, and in this video I'm going to try and explain that to you. If, on the other hand, you've bought this boat for the boys and you're all just going out on fishing trips, your last boat was a half cabin Hames Hunter or something like that, no dunny, no sun protection, and this is just an amazing upgrade for you, awesome, go for it. Great adventure, you'll have a lot of fun. I'm probably really talking to the blokes who I have met many of over the years who have these lofty dreams, which I fully support. It's awesome out here. We're going to do a little bit of this right now. It's really great fun. But what I'm trying to get across to you is if you don't approach this properly, your dream just could get poo-pooed straight away. So first thing you want to do, check the weather, check the weather, check the bloody weather. It's so important to do everything, particularly when you're going offshore, based around the weather. So if you can favour a day when the wind is blowing offshore, so from the land out into the ocean, also consider the swell. You want virtually no swell at all, or very, very low swell, and a long wave period. You don't want the waves bunched up close together where they're going to be sharp and uncomfortable. Here in Australia, that typically means winter time. So what can you do? What can you be smart about? You can say, hey honey, we're going to pick this beautiful, flat, calm winter's day. We're going to go whale watching. We're just going to punch out offshore for 15 minutes, look for some whales for 20 minutes, and then I've got lunch booked, or I've packed a really awesome lunch. We're going to go to this beautiful Crystal Bay is what I'm trying to say. You know what I mean? And turn that into a bit of an adventure. Don't go trying to overachieve. So check the weather, do a safety briefing. People like to know what's going on, and they like to know who is in charge, and they like to know you know what is going on. I'm actually testing an app right now. It's called Track It. I'm in the process of educating myself on this, and it allows you to manage your boat's maintenance and service records, but it also allows you to customize a safety checklist for your boat. The app was designed by a jet pilot, so it kind of makes sense. If it's any good, I'll let you know. I'm still working that one out. So check the weather, do a safety briefing, and just be conscious of your plan for the day. Don't overcommit, and then hopefully you should have a great time. Let's go for a drive. So, we're out here in the ocean. I've checked the weather. It's westerly. The swell is very moderate, long period from a southeasterly direction. The wind is no more than 20 knots today. When you come out in the ocean, warn your guests. So if you've been zooming along in the flat water and you turn into a new zone, so to speak, or an exposed area, just warn everyone on board. Just be like, okay guys, we're actually now entering the exposed part of the water. The boat's going to start bouncing around. That's just one of the techniques you can adopt to make others feel comfortable on board. And what are we on board? This is the Jeanneau Merry Fisher 795 Sport. This is the Series 2. She's a little bit of an upgrade, this version. Dan Jones is my name. You're watching Dan's Boat Life. And we're just going into the swell right now at a speed 16, 17 knots. Don't need to go any faster. Once again, think of your guests. And now I'm going to take the swell side on, and then we're going to start running down swell. We'll go inshore after that, and then wind the speed up just to give you some performance numbers. We've got a 2.1 ton empty, and then we've got 280 litres of fuel, plus we're running the Mercury 250 horsepower on this one. We've got the new throttle base just here. It's quite comfortable. So it's going to be a smidgen over 3 ton, I reckon, by the time it's loaded, because that engine's going to be 300 plus kilos, 300 almost 300 litres of fuel at 280 there, plus all your other stuff. So you are going to be pushing that over the 3 ton towing limit when you include the trailer. And I know some of you, especially Americans, but I reckon a few Aussies would still tow a boat like this. And that just means you're going to need one of those American four-wheel drives like the Dodge Ram. You're not going to do it with a Toyota. So just consider that. We're now going down swell. We've got the westerly wind at about 15 to 18 knots coming across our port bow, and the wave period's nice and relaxed today. I'm sitting on, just sitting on about, what do we got there? Very low RPM, 3,800 RPM and 16 to 17 knots. I'll actually increase the speed a little bit. No trim tabs on this model, so it's just engine trim. You can see me resting my palm just here because we are in the ocean, so that's more about me predicting any vertical movement of the bow and not wanting to accidentally over rev the boat when I didn't want to. So I'm just driving the boat through some of these swells here, and it's considerably choppier to about an hour and a half ago when we filmed the drone shoot. We now got lots of wind chop just coming in this direction and the waves behind me. So I'm actually going to just adjust my angle so I've got most of the cutting action into the wind chop, and we'll just cruise. We'll just feel it. So the doors, you're probably attracted to this boat because of the design, and it is excellent. We've got walk around decks on this boat, and you've got the sliding helm door, so that's really, really awesome. What I was just pointing out is we have a lock here and a lock here, so I can crack it open, because let's face it, it's the middle of winter right now. We've got the doors closed and we just want to get the sunshine in to keep ourselves warm. But in summer, you're going to want that. You want that cracked, you want that cracked if it's, say, a rainy day, or you got spray coming over one side. And then you might even consider what you do with the roof, and you can also crack that open to about this position. So if there is a bit of spray going around the place, that's your solution. And if there's not, you just have it open and just let the air in and enjoy yourself. So that works fine too. We did have the doors both closed before and the roof open. The air wasn't on me, it was kind of more venting through the cabin in this manner. Alrighty, why don't we speed it up a little bit? 21 knots, fuel flow of 37 litres on the single 250 horsepower Mercury. I'll bring that speed up, going through a little bit of fairy wash here. Just gonna adjust my angle of attack. There we go. And 4,300 revs. I'm just sticking with the same setting on the engine trim at the moment because I'm happy with that. And 24 knots. So I think you really do want to, when you do have wind chop like this, you can hear it bouncing against the hull. You just want to try and point the bow into that chop as much as you can, just for your own comfort perspective. You're always going to have a trade-off with hulls. No hull is going to be perfect. Yes, you can see lots of really, really pointy bow boats on my channel, and they're amazing. They go really fast, they're super smooth. The accommodation up the front is pretty hopeless, or non-existent, because that's the trade-off. Whereas on this boat, we're in, what, 27-footer boat, and we've got a beautiful big bed, we've got a toilet down here, lots of other accommodation, which I'm going to demonstrate in the walkthrough, separate video to this. And so it's trailerable, you can rack and stack it, you can keep it in a small, cheap marina berth, and it'll absolutely go on a swing mooring. We've even got a bow thruster. So that's sort of the trade-off that you need to consider when looking at something like this. I am very bullish on the Merry Fisher range in general, because here we are, we're entering the new conditions now, just left some of that wind chop and the ocean swell starting to dissipate, so I'm going to increase that speed in a second. I'm very bullish on this brand because it's so perfect for many people. It appeals to such a wide demographic, and my observations in my 20 years of selling boats was that the resale on a Merry Fisher was always very good because the demand for these things was high. Can you find a better hull? Yeah, of course you can. But in terms of the overall package, in terms of the price, I'm just going to say that again, the pricing is in the description below. These things are super keenly priced, so bang for buck, they're very hard to beat in terms of what they're giving you back, is what I'm trying to explain. All right, let's increase this speed a bit. We'll go in here. 25 knots, 4,600 revs. I'm going to do a hard turn, staying on the other side of the 4 knot zone, and hard turn. That's nice. My heel angle is acceptable. I'm standing and I still have visibility at my 5'7" height out to port, so that I don't see that as a danger. Now I'm just going to increase that a little bit more. 4,500 revs, 47 litres fuel flow at that rev setting. Feeling good. Now we're in flatter water with wind chop. The boat feels quite lively actually. I'm going to do a moderate turn. I'm going to transition to the seated position, see how comfortable that is. Okay, that's good. I might want to slide the seat forward for my short legs, but that's okay. Now let's increase the speed, A couple of waves here from boats. I'm going to try and stick out of them or take them to the side. Speed's coming through 30 knots. 79 litre fuel flow, trimming the engine up just to get the best out of it. A little bit of activity on the bow there, but feels okay. 5,500, 80 litres fuel flow, and 33 knots. I think that's our wide open throttle top speed. That's acceptable. That's totally acceptable. So then that means for a fast cruise, we have 24 knots, I'd say. It's probably a sensible fast cruise on this boat at a fuel burn of 39 litres. You know, considering your overall capacity, that's fine. Let's head inshore and give you guys a detailed walkthrough. I'm not going to give you a walkthrough right now. I'm just going to show you what it's like in some normal conditions. So don't think it's all about offshore, guys. I just wanted to give you that experience. These are the conditions that 99% of you are going to be driving around in. Regular, Sydney Harbour, the Broadwater, some lake in America, the Mediterranean. This is generally what you will be experiencing. So I'm just zipping along right now. I try to keep the revs under 5,000, so my fuel flow is acceptable. So at 4.7 there gives me 28 knot speed return. I'll bump it over 5,000 just for a second. See, at 5.2, I'm immediately at 75 litres. So if I come back to 4.7, I'm at 47. So that's a big difference at fuel flow at the end of the day. But this is your normal noise levels, your normal comfort levels. The boat's very smooth. It's quite capable for the conditions that you'll probably be boating in 95% of the time. This is what it's like. So I hope that's useful. Guys, if you do find this content useful, please subscribe. Share this channel with your mates. I spend about 20 hours on every boat to put these videos together for you, so I'd really appreciate to get the support. Thank you. I shall link to another video of a similar boat right now, and if you want to see the walkthrough on this one, that's a separate video to this. I'll put a link in the description below with the pricing as well. Thanks, guys.